Hello book lovers, my name is Carrie Rogers and this is Spines and Spoilers. Today I am going over the 21 books that I want to read in 2021. You'll notice that the setup is the same as in my last video, but darker. And that is because I'm filming this all on the same day because I don't really get much of a chance to get alone time these days, but I'm working with what I've got. Now, to begin with, I think the first 15 or 16 books are books which are fairly well known, so I probably won't give much of a summary for them, maybe talk about it a little bit, but mostly I want to just speed through them as quickly as I can. Alright, number 1 is The Girl Who Takes an Eye for an Eye by David Lagercrantz, I believe is how you pronounce his name. It is the second to last most recent of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo books. And I think the second that David Lagercrantz wrote. The first 5 books that I'm mentioning, by the way, are books which I have already started the series for, and I want to continue. Number 2 is The Conference of Birds by Ransom Riggs, which I actually mentioned in my last video. It is the sequel to the Peculiar Children of Miss Peregrine. Miss Peregrine's Home of Peculiar Children. There we go. It's like the 5th sequel, I believe, in this case. But I'm really excited for that one. I didn't like the first one, but I started reading the others. I've read 3 of the sequels, I think, at this point, and really enjoyed them all. And I'm really excited for The Conference of Birds. The next one is one that people are probably going to skin me alive for not reading. And that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. Yes, I know, I haven't read it yet. It is sacrilege. You can burn me at the stake if you would like. I will help you. But yeah, I haven't had the time. All of my books are in storage. Please give me a break. I will get around to it. 4th book also needs no introduction. That is Heir of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I believe it is the 4th book in the series, or 3rd, depending on whether you, like where you count the Assassin's Blade. I think a lot of people just count it as a prequel. But yeah, I stopped at Crown of Midnight maybe over a year now at this point. I read it, I thought it was great, and then I just put it to the side and didn't come back to it. I like all of them so far, really like them. Don't know why I keep not coming back to them. This is on me. Number 5 is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. Also, not one that needs much of an introduction. I'm sure you've heard of it a million times. It is the 3rd book in the Mortal Instrument series, I believe, by Cassandra Clare. I got 2 books in, really liked it, then I guess got a little bit burnt out on the universe and decided to step away from it for a little while and just never really came back to it. So this year I'd like to actually pick it back up and get back into the universe, because I don't like stepping away from books for so long. One which didn't make it on the list, which I also kind of want to mention, honorable mention, is the 5th or 6th book in the Wheel of Time series. I can't even remember the name of it at this point, but I would like to try and get back into that series as well. Sorry if I keep on like moving and readjusting and stuff like that. I honestly don't even realize that I'm doing it. But I've been sitting here for a couple of hours now, so my back is not very happy, which is part of the reason that I kind of want to just power through this. Alright, these next 6 books are books which I've read things by the same authors, basically, and want to see if they continue, you know, being as good as I already think they are from the first book that I read. Like I read their debut novel, and now I want to continue reading their material and see if it's just as good as the other stuff. Number 6 is The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I don't know how I haven't read this book yet either. The Night Circus was one of my favorite books. I think it was at the very top of my list for 2019, and I want to read this book as quickly as I can, and aim to do so. Number 7 is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, who is the author of The Hate U Give. if I even needed to tell you. I very much doubt that I did. Loved The Hate U Give. Haven't read on the Come Up yet either, which I would also like to read, but I've heard a lot of buzz about Concrete Rose recently in particular, so that is the one that made the list. Number 8 is To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, which might be a little like niche, I guess, maybe. Christopher Paolini is the one who wrote the Inheritance series, Aragon, Inheritance, Eldest, Brissinger, etc. I know that was totally out of order, but dragons. That's what that entire series was. And from what I understand, this book is very different. It's science fiction, and I think it's one of the first that he has written since the Inheritance series, so I'm extremely interested to see what he does like with this material, with this genre, and how his writing has changed as an adult, because he started the Inheritance series at like 15 or 16 years old. So I can only imagine how much his style has changed. The next book I'd like to read is Pumpkin by Julie Murphy. Julie Murphy is the author of Dumplin', which was a big hit in 2019, I believe. Either way, really enjoyed that book, really want to see more by Julie Murphy. This follows a different character from the same universe, if I have heard correctly, but I really want to see more of what she can do. Number 10 is another one that a lot of you probably haven't heard of. I'm not trying to sound like pretentious or anything like that. This is just like not an author that I think a lot of people on BookTube necessarily read. And it's The Plucker by Brahm. Brahm is mainly known for his illustrations in particular, but I really liked his work in The Child Thief and Krampus, and my mind's drawing a blank. I can't remember what else, but he kind of takes children's The Lost Gods. That's the other one. It was amazing. But yeah, he often takes things and spins them in a dark direction, and includes these just amazing visceral illustrations to go along with it. And I love everything that he has done so far. Nothing that he has written, to my knowledge, that I have read, has gotten less than 4 stars. Really enjoy his work. Can't wait to read that one if I can get my hands on it, because it's fucking nowhere. Number 11 is actually one that I've already read at this point. It was one of the first books that I read this year in 2021, and that was We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. I put it on this list at the very end of 2020 when I was writing everything out, and had the chance to get it for free, so why would I not? But yes, wanted to read it, did it. Ha ha ha, I'm doing a great job already working on this list. I'm actually doing shit. Really enjoyed it. You'll probably hear more on that in the future, but Grady Hendrix is the person who's responsible for My Best Friend's Exorcism, Paperbacks from Hell. He's done a lot of stuff at this point, and I want to read all of it, basically, if I can. I really enjoy his style. The next 5 books on the list are basically books that I've had on my TBR for quite a while, that have been hyped up for like the last few years or so. Not few, we'll say 2 or 3. I've only been on BookTube for like 3 years at this point, maybe. But yeah, that I've basically had on my list for a while and really want to get around to. And that starts with Sadie by Courtney Summers. I don't think I've heard of anything else that she's written at this point, but I've heard that it's very progressive, and circulates around a trans character. I don't necessarily know much more than that because I was deliberately avoiding spoilers. I would like to try and read that book this year. I have a copy in my storage unit. It's just a matter of getting my books again. So whenever I actually have a new place and I have my bookcase back up and all of my books back, I'll try to make this one of the first books that I read. I also have a copy of The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins already. There are several on this list actually that I already have a copy. I just can't read them right now. This next book is actually one that I am working on at the moment. Number 13 is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I don't think I have to tell you much about this book. It has been spread from here to here to here. It's everywhere, this fucking series. I've heard so much about it. And at first I was honestly kind of avoiding it because it was everywhere. And I was a little bit tired of hearing about it. But now some of the hype has died down a little bit. And I've decided that I'm going to give it a try. I think I'm about halfway through, honestly really enjoying it so far. I think I want to get a physical copy of this book because I think I would enjoy it more in a physical medium. At the moment I'm listening to it as an audiobook, and I don't think it kind of has the same influence that it would, or the same impact as it would if it was a physical book. So I think I want to get that when I have the chance and maybe give it a reread. Number 15 is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I started this book in 2019, I believe, or the very beginning of 2020. Either way, it's been a very long time. I think it was the beginning of 2020. Oh my god. But yeah, I've started this book. Then I think what happened was quarantine hit, stay-at-home order hit, and just didn't feel like reading anything for months and months and months. You all were there. You know what it was like. But yeah, definitely want to pick that back up. I remember reading the first few chapters and really enjoying what I had read. And really enjoying Libba Bray's style. So I want to give that another try. Number 16, I'm just now realizing should have been in the second group of books, being that I have read something by Taylor Jenkins Reid and really enjoyed it. I've read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and it was basically my favorite book of 2020. But yes, number 16 is Daisy Jones and the Six. Just a little book, don't know if you've heard of it. It was everywhere last year. And I wanted to read it basically since it came out. Never got around to it. Don't know if you remember, but last year, back in the way back, I was having like a really big reading slump for a few months. I've noticed that I'm good for the first like 3 months. And then I get to the point where I just can't for a few months. And then I come back and I'm like, oh yes, sorry for leaving. So I'm going to try to avoid that this year if I can. Anyway, totally off topic. These last 5 are books which were written more recently that I don't necessarily know a lot about, but they have a lot of hype. And what I do know of them makes it sound like something that I would really like to pursue. Number 17 is Lore by Alexandria Bracker? I think that's how her name is pronounced. Again, I don't know much of anything about this book. I just know that it is extremely loved. And the little bit that I've heard of it, it sounds really interesting. I'm just going to wave my fingers all over the place, apparently. It also, I'm not going to deny it, it's a beautiful book. The cover is absolutely gorgeous and immediately intriguing and captivating and makes me want to know more about what the book actually has to say. Number 18 is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I've never read anything by V.E. Schwab. Maybe comment down below if you think that maybe I should start with one of her other works. I know I have Vicious on my TBR and several of her other books. I've just never gotten around to reading her stuff. I have no idea. I think it's because maybe she gets mixed up in my head with authors like Libba Bray and Grady Hendrix and people like that, because they all kind of have like a sort of dark presence, I think, when it comes to books. And they kind of occupy the same space in my mind. But I really want to read this, or something at least, by V.E. Schwab. This one in particular sounds interesting. I've heard a lot about it. This is one that I do actually have an idea of what the plot is. From what I understand, it is about an individual who basically she's able to meet people and go out in the world, but people don't remember her like the moment that they stop talking to her. And I can only imagine how frustrating that is, until one day she finds someone who actually remembers her. And that's it. That's all I know. So yeah, I want to know what else is going to happen from that point on. Number 19 is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. This is another one of those that I don't really know much about, but from what I've heard, it seems really interesting. The cover is just gorgeous, and it makes me automatically want to know more. I also don't think I've read anything by T.J. Klune. I don't think I've even heard of them before this point. Also, hello, Ezra. Is it time to visit? Okay. Just sit on my list. That's fine. This isn't gonna cause problems. We're gonna try to carry on, even though we have a cat in front of the thing. Where are you going? Okay, well that takes care of that problem. Number 20 is actually two different books. It is The Hollow Places and A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. They're both by T. Kingfisher, and both, from what I hear, have dramatically different feelings and moods. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking, I think, is a little more lighthearted, whereas The Hollow Places is a little more dark and deep. And both sound equally interesting to me. And what I think is particularly interesting is I heard from them from two completely different sources. A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking I heard of just by one of my friends on Facebook talking about it. And then The Hollow Places, I believe I saw mentioned on someone's BookTube video, and I didn't connect the fact that they were by the same author until I actually looked them up and added them to my want to read on Goodreads. So I just thought it was fascinating that these two dramatically different sounding books were written by the same author, and I really want to see what this person has to offer. The last book on my list, number 21, is Know My Name by Chanel Miller. I think this is the only nonfiction book on my list, if I remember correctly. I believe this was written by the person who was attacked by Brock Turner. Please don't fight me if I get that wrong. I'm pretty sure that is who it is by, though, and who it is about, and basically her story. I just remember hearing about it and instantly thinking that I need to read it, and that is almost definitely a really important read, especially for people, in this day and age, and contributing to the discussion about rape culture, basically. And basically figuring out how we are going to handle situations like this in the future. I can only hope that maybe people will learn from their mistakes. I think the garage is about to open. No, I guess maybe it was left open, and I'm gonna have to pause the video now. I'm not sure. Sorry, I had to pause for the garage again. That's happened several times in the last couple of hours. Anyway, that is my top 21 that I want to read in 2021. I'm excited for all of these. Not really any more than the others. I am looking forward to every single book on this list. Obviously, I'll probably get around to the ones that I already have physical copies of more quickly than the others, though with the fact that I have to wait until I move, who knows? I could end up getting copies of everything else on Audible and never get around to the other ones. Why is someone leaving now? You just got here. Hey, this is way future Carrie. As you can see, I've dyed my hair. And I realized that I missed like two different numbers while I was doing the initial list. Number 14 was Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand, and I think it was number 18 was Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've already read Clap When You Land, so it's not that much of a big deal that I left it off my list. It was really good. But Sawkill Girls is one that I'm still very much looking forward to reading, and I feel bad that I left it off the list because it's like one of the ones that's at the top of my list that I've wanted to read the most. Anyway, just wanted to correct that very quick. So, I have no idea why the door just opened again. The garage door just opened again. Chris, I know you watch my videos. What is going on down there? Anyway, yeah, that is my list. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all staying safe out there, as safe as you can, wearing your mask, staying indoors, you know, not going out to parties or anything like that, participating in social distancing and everything. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and most importantly, love yourself.